Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. This story I find is utterly disgusting. I think heads must definitely roll. Questions most definitely must be answered. And this must go all the way up to the Health Secretary in Holyrood, because ultimately the buck stops there. When patients die in hospital, it is a very sad time. And the hospital must do what it can to mitigate the grief for the relatives. It must show some kind of sympathy, some empathy, some humanity. But apparently not in NHS Scotland, where when people die, they have a whole team that then combs over all the social media posts of the family that remain, the grieving family, to make sure that they are not criticising the hospitals. Are you kidding me? Almost exactly a year ago, I went into hospital. I didn't expect to come out of hospital. I was in that bad a way. And I did come out, and thankfully I'm a lot better now. But I made a video criticising Kettering General Hospital. It's had a lot of views, and in fact at the end of this one I will post a link to it. But I was in a particularly bad way when I came out of there. And of course, I'm entitled to criticise a hospital where I've been in that hospital and I've seen firsthand the treatment I've received. And so are these families. So why is the NHS setting up whole teams to spy on, the bereaved, to spy on the families of those who've died? What the hell is it up to them? Where is the secrecy? Where is the humanity? And what controls are in place? And what are they going to do to these people if they find criticism? Are they going to refuse treatment in the future? This is disgusting. We're going to go straight into this piece. It is utterly awful. So NHS Glasgow chiefs found to be spying on the families of dead patients with a social listening list. The health board has been at the centre of a controversy, and a widow has now discovered she was being spied on by the NHS Glasgow. These, to monitor the criticism that she may or may not have put up. So NHS chiefs at a scandal-hit health board are spying on the relatives of dead patients. If they've got the money to be spying on people, surely they've got the money to improve the quality of care. Just my take on that straight away. The Big Brother-style intelligence gathering operation has been ordered by under-pressure officials to monitor criticism. Who gives them the authority to spy on private citizens? Seriously, they are not the security service. They are a hospital. Go on and do your damn job. And your damn job, you're not the NSP, the NSA, you're not the CIA, you're the NHS. You should not be spying on people. The Sunday Mail has revealed that the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde has employed a scheme and calls it social listening to check online posts of individuals they keep on a list. Who's on this list? Let's have that list published. Let's see why they're on that list. Let's get every senior person involved in this to stand and answer these questions. One of their key targets has been Louise Slorence, whose husband Andrew died at Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, which is at the centre of a major infections inquiry. That hospital is undergoing several inquiries at the moment. This is only one of them. It is an absolute failing hospital, and that is always down to management. She described the discovery as sickening and said, not only does it feel like an intrusion, it beggars belief that precious NHS funds are being spent spying on bereaved families instead of patient care or improved pay for clinical staff. Scottish Labour leader Anna Sawar said, "This is a shocking and disgusting admission from a health board who have repeatedly been shielded from scrutiny by the top players in the SNP. The SNP have continually done this. They have hidden everything because they know that is a terrible indictment, because the NHS under the SNP has failed in every single metric, every single one. They are so conscious of criticism that they need to protect it constantly, and they don't want anything coming out. But of course, the truth always comes out. And even this spying thing is going to be ultimately down to the SNP and the lack of control and the lack of ability to run a health service. These grieving families have waited years to see justice, and they have had their trust betrayed time and time again by the very people who should be protecting them. This is the final straw. Those involved from the NHSGGC must be sacked, and we must finally get answers to this awful ordeal. Andrew, 49, a senior government employee who was close to former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, died 3 years ago while awaiting a stem cell transplant to treat his cancer at the QEUH. The father of 5 contracted COVID while in hospital, but unknown to Louise, also picked up aspergillus, a fungal infection which she discovered when reading his medical notes after his death. Scientists have linked aspergillus to issues during the construction of the £842 million hospital, which in 2015 replaced the Southern General Hospital in Glasgow and other sites in the city. When building the hospital, they failed to clean it properly. They failed to disinfect it. They failed to clean out all the potential sources and vectors of disease, and then just opened it. It is a massive fail. Somebody needs to pay for that, but of course nobody ever will. Louise has been a vocal critic of the NHSGGC, headed up by Chief Executive Jane Grant and the Scottish Government since the discovery, and has been campaigning for justice with other families who lost loved ones while in the QEUH and the Royal Hospital for Children in Glasgow. She believes this is why she is being spied on, and is now demanding to know who requested that she be watched, who else is on the list, and what the purpose of the spying on relatives of the patients is. It's to ensure that they are not spreading malicious rumours, because basically what it is will be they'll complain and complain and complain, and they're entitled to do that. And the moment they say one thing that isn't 100% true, the NHS will jump on them and sue them to try and silence them. And that's what this is for. But you want to know now, if she fell ill, would she go to the QEUH? Because I have a feeling they'd probably refuse her. Louise, 46, said, "I only found out about this when I made a request for all the information relating to me, which was held by my health board. One of the documents they provided was a heavily redacted, but parts of which were not removed showed they wanted to add me to something called social listening. I was stunned. Not only did they add me to this list to be spied on, they added any mention of Andrew's name to monitor what was being said about him." Who the hell are these people? Find out exactly who created this list, under whose orders, and who's running it, maintaining it, and who's reading it, and have them all up in front of a judge, and have everything come out in a court of law, and then fire them, and if they're medical, remove their licenses. This is disgusting. This is beyond disgusting. What gives them the right to do this? Documents seen by the Sunday Mail show an unnamed NHSGGC official on the August 30th, 2022 asking, "Can we please add Louise Slorence to the list for our social listening?" A second unnamed official replied, "Sure. Do you want to just add social? Do you want mentions of her or her post?" The first official responded, "Both," and gave Louise's Twitter username. The second official later said, I'm also going to include content around Andrew Slorence, as he can be getting mentioned too without her." Have they got a court order for this? Have they got a court order to go and troll this information and hold this information? If not, they're breaking the law. And why are they not telling her that they're holding this information? She is entitled to this. She's entitled to know exactly what information is being held, how they've obtained it. It's all there. GDPR protects us. She needs to take these people to court. Louise said, "Knowing the health board hold a social listening list is sickening. Not only does it feel like an intrusion, its presence highlights the toxic culture at the NHSGGC in leadership behaviours. It's not just in Glasgow, it's the whole of the NHS in Scotland is like this, because it is all under the SNP control. A lack of compassion and accountability, and the bullying of anyone who raises concerns. The NHSGGC senior management are not fit for the position." The mother of 3 has also been critical of the Scottish Government and said officials who worked with her husband were complicit in covering up the flaws with the hospital. Sturgeon even attended Andrew's funeral, but Louise said the ex-FM went into reputation management mode when she publicly started questioning what happened to him at the end of his life. because of course she did. Sturgeon can't take any criticism. She does nothing wrong ever. She said, the week after the first story came out about Andrew's death and my questions, 15 minutes before FMQs, a call came through from her private secretary, but I wasn't able to answer. They had also sent me an email saying the actions they were going to take to get me answers. None of it has got me answers. It was complete protection for her. Louise said she fears she will never find out the impact of aspergillus on Andrew's death, as it was not properly investigated, and she is concerned about other patients being admitted to the QEUH. She said Nicola was the health secretary when the hospital was being built, and as FM she didn't do enough to find out what happened or inform the public. And we have the same thing with Humza Yousaf, a former health secretary who will struggle to be critical of the decisions made because it was done by his party. Well, of course they will. They're going to cover this up. It's all the SNP can do is cover up their constant many mistakes. No one will answer this. And why the hell are these people, spying on, the families of the dead? It is disgusting. The scandal of the QEUH emerged fully in 2019 when a 10-year-old boy contracted an infection commonly associated with pigeon droppings. He died alongside an elderly patient who contracted the same bug while in hospital. Journalists discovered whistleblowers had been raising concerns about the super hospital, its water system, its ventilation. The health board has denied there is a problem with water or ventilation, and yet people keep complaining and saying there is. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde did not answer questions on who gave the spying orders, who else is on the social listening list, and what they are doing with the information. A spokesman said, social media is an increasingly utilised way in which the public, patients and staff engage with us. It is also a mechanism we use to understand public sentiment in relation to our services. The information we read is only that made publicly available. The very fact you're looking and trawling it, and trawling it, and then storing it, that's what's wrong here. If you can employ someone to do all that, fire him and employ another nurse. Anyway, I'm coming up. This is absolutely disgusting. The questions have got to be answered, and if it takes a court case, then so be it. You want to see these bastards in jail. How much does Sturgeon know? Did she know the hospital was not fit for purpose when she was the health minister? Did she authorise the listening of people, the spying on families when she was the health secretary, or did she wait until she was the first minister before allowing this? Because ultimately this is on her watch. This has been happening since she was first minister. Ultimately, she needs to be in court answering these questions under the GDPR breakdown, under the fact that she has no authority to spy on private grieving families. This is another indictment of what an absolute psychopath Sturgeon is. She does not care one iota about the family of the dying people. People losing family members, and she wants to spy on them rather than giving them comfort and succour. Because she's got no sympathy, no feelings. She's inhuman. She's barely human herself. And this is just another example of why this woman was so unfit for any kind of public service, and why she really needs to be in a cage, in a lab somewhere, being prodded and pushed by psychiatrists. You've seen Hannibal Lecter. She needs to be in the cage next to him. Anyway, I'm going to round up there because she's such I can't get over how bad this is. It shocked even me, and I've done a lot of stuff. We've covered a load of stuff over here on this channel, but this is just this is a step I couldn't. I'm astounded. Anyway, I shall stop now because it will get me angry. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, go to your hospital and ask for all information they're holding on you. You are legally entitled to it. And goodbye.